All right. All right. Starting off with we're going to be tying the long arm of the crawl. It's a fly I came up with. I used it today. It works really well. So that's what we're going to start off with. Starting off with a 3/0 Umpqua hook. Starting on the vise, and let's get it going. That was weird. Hey, Supreme Voice. I'm good. Just starting to tie some flies tonight. I just figured I would tie the flies that worked today when I went fishing today. I just thought I would tie some of those. So I'm gonna start off with I call it the long arm of the crawl. It's basically a crab looking fly, but I call it long arm of the crawl. Well, I'm a fishing guide down here in Louisiana, so that's what I do. I take people fishing for a living. So start off with a 3/0 Umpqua hook. It's saltwater series hook. It's competition series hook. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a black painted lead eye on there. Wow, that's awesome. Indonesian on here. That's cool. All right, so we get a couple wraps to get the lead eye started, and I'm gonna do a couple more wraps on here. Just kind of want to get it started on the top of the hook, and once it's lined up about where I want it, we'll go ahead and start tying. So this right here, the name of this fly, I call it the long arm of the crawl. I came up with it a couple of weeks ago. I used it today. It works really good. Grandpa Fish. Oh, thank you, Mr. Joseph. Thank you. I went live today while I was fly fishing, y'all. I only caught 4. I caught 2 redfish. They were kind of small. They're about 30 inches apiece. And I caught 2 black drum. I could have caught a ton of black drum, but honestly, I didn't want to. They're kind of boring to catch, so I didn't throw to them. But all right, y'all, we're gonna do some cross wraps on this eye right here. The fly that I'm tying. I came up with this fly a couple of weeks ago. I call it the long arm of the crawl. It's basically a crab. It's like a crab looking fly. It works. I used it today. It works really well. All right. So after we get several cross wraps on there, I'm gonna go underneath the lead eye and over the top of the hook just to kind of cinch those down. That'll be pretty good. Grandpa fish. I mean, I guess I could be a grandpa. As far as I know, I'm not. But, all right, and then we're gonna run some thread down the shank of the hook right here till we get right back there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and grab some glue and put a little bit of glue on those eyes to hold them in place. So I'm just gonna grab some Solarez glue right here, y'all. This glue dries with ultraviolet light. So we're gonna go ahead and put some glue over the threads right here where we tied the lead eye on there. And we're gonna hit it with the ultraviolet light right here, y'all. And that's gonna dry that glue within just a few seconds. It dries it up. Ought to be good enough. All right. So the first thing we're going to start off with is I'm trying to remember how I tied this fly now, honestly. Trying to remember how I tied this fly, y'all. I've tied a bunch of them, but hold on just a minute, y'all. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. Hold on just a second, y'all. All right, I'm back, y'all. Sorry. I had to make sure. I looked at the picture of my crawl because I don't have any here at the house because I got them all. I either got them in my fly box. I got them in my fly box, or I got them for sale. So I had to look at a picture real quick to remember how I was tying this fly. All right, y'all, we're gonna grab an olive deer tail right here. Olive colored deer tail. And I'm gonna grab a chunk of deer hair right here, of deer tail. So I've got some deer tail right here. You're just gonna hold it in your hands like this, and you just wanna loosely pull off any loose hairs that come off, but I don't have any right now. All right. We're gonna set that on here. And give it some wraps. And I have to let my cat out. My cat just started meowing, so he wants to go outside. Hold on just a second, Bert. His name is Bert. I'm gonna let you out, buddy. I hear you. All right. So we got some wraps on our deer tail right here. This right here is just to add like a little fluff to the end of it. But this is gonna be a crab imitation, and I call it the long arm of the craw. And you'll see why I call it that here in just a second. Hold on, y'all. Let me let my cat out. It takes 2 seconds. Come on, Bert. Bert, come on. Go. I'm back, everybody. Sorry, I had to let the cat out. If not, he'll sit there and meow forever. Now we're going to turn the fly over like this right here. We're gonna go ahead and turn the fly over like this right here. And I'm gonna throw some eyes on the fly right here, y'all. So these are called Easy Shrimp Eyes. It might be backwards on camera, but it's called Easy Shrimp Eyes. From Sightcast Fishing makes them. If y'all are new to the channel, please subscribe, y'all. Trying to grow the channel. This is what they look like out of the package. They're called Easy Shrimp Eyes. So what I do, I turn the fly upside down like that with the top of the hook facing up. And I'm going to take the shrimp eye and just lay it. Just lay it on top of the hook like that. With the, I'm basically splitting the hook with the shrimp eyes. And then you're going to wrap them on there. Once you got it lined up pretty good, go ahead and get some wraps and get it on there. Alright, just like that. Alright, and then what we're going to do, I'm going to take a little bit of glue and put over those threads where I just wrapped that, just to lock those shrimp eyes in place. So I used this fly today, y'all, and literally the first. Oh, thank you, Mr. KP. So I got there fishing today, and as soon as I started fishing, I had 2 redfish come out of the boat, and I put the fly that we're making. First cast, one of them grabbed it. So it works really well, y'all. I'm just hitting the glue with this ultraviolet light to dry it up real quick. All right, now we're gonna make some crab legs. I'm gonna move this out of the way because I don't need it to show y'all how to make the crab legs. We're gonna make some crab claws, and then we'll tie them onto the fly. So I'm taking some chenille, that's what it's called, chenille. And I'm just using a tan color. And I'm going to pull off, 4 or 5 inches of it. And there's a reason why. I'm going to cut that. And I'm making, it's a fly I developed. I call it the long arm of the Craw. It's a crab looking fly. And that's what I was using it today, and it was doing really well. So after you cut off some chenille, I got about 4 or 5 inches right here. You want to double it over, and what we're doing, we're making crab claws right here. We're making the crab claws that go on the fly. So you double it over just like this, and now you're just going to tie an overhand knot in the chenille. So we're making crab claws right here, y'all. So all I did, I doubled it over, I tied an overhand knot just like this. Pull that tight. And now I'm gonna take one side, so you got your little tag ends right here. I'm gonna take one side of this right here and cut it. Just like that. And it's already kind of looking like crab claws, but we're going to make it even more. So I don't want, these are going to be the claws right here. I don't want them to be quite that long, but I do want one longer than the other, so I'm going to cut one a little short. My scissors, I got 2 pair, y'all, but I cut so much stuff tying these flies all the time, and I'm going to cut one a little long. Like that. So I got one a little short, one a little long. Now we're going to put points on these, and the way you put points on them, you take a lighter. You're not going to burn this. You're going to hit your flame, and you're just going to touch the ends of these claws to the flame, and it's going to put points on there. Just like that. So it put points on the crab claws. All right, I'm going to go ahead and make another one because we need 2 crab claws. So we're going to make another one real quick. So again, I just cut off 4 or 5 inches of chenille right here. We're going to double it over. If y'all are new to the channel, please, please, please subscribe. For some reason, people are enjoying these fly time videos, y'all, but or it seems like they do. But I've actually got 500 and something real fishing videos on my channel. I'm a fishing guy down here in Louisiana. I do fly fishing and rod and reel fishing. So if you check out my channel, you're going to see a bunch of videos of a bunch of giant fish. All right, we doubled it over and we tied an overhand knot. We're making a crab claw right here. So you just want to hold the tag ends right here. Just want to hold the tag ends, cut off one of them. I've got to start using my other pair of scissors. So you've cut off one of the tag ends right there. Or sorry, you cut off one of the part that you doubled over. Now we're going to make our crab claws. Again, you want to leave one short and one long, y'all. Then we're going to put points on them. Just like that. Don't take but a second. You just touch them to the flame. It puts a point on there. Now we're going to color them up. So this part y'all won't really be able to see, but I'm going to take a red Sharpie and a blue Sharpie, and we're going to color the points red, and then we're going to color the palm of the claw blue. So that's all I'm doing right here. I know y'all can't really see this on camera, but we're just coloring the claws red. And then we're going to color the palm of the claw blue, y'all. And we're going to leave the rest of the leg the way it comes, the tan color. Like I said, y'all, I used this fly today. Literally, as soon as I started fishing, the first 2 redfish, there was 2 of them swimming together. They came by the boat. I put this fly in front of them, and one of them smoked it. I wasn't planning on fishing today, so what happened was the last charter I did in my fly fishing skiff, my motor started skipping a little bit. It's a Yamaha SHO, but it's got about 600 and something hours on it because I'm always on the water. But so it started skipping. So I changed the spark plugs, I changed everything, all the filters, all that stuff. I went ahead and changed the oil, I did all that. So I took it back out today to test run it, but you know, it wasn't skipping, and I happened to have my fly rods in the boat. So there's the claws that we just made, y'all. We just made these crab claws right here. So that's what we did. We took the chenille, we doubled it over, we tied an overhand knot, we cut the claws into it, leaving one longer than the other. We cut off to make a single arm on there, and then we colored them. So anyway, so since I had the rods in the boat today, I figured I'd fish, and I saw a pretty good amount of redfish, and then I saw a ton of black drum. I didn't cast all the black drum. They're spawning right now, and they were just everywhere. There was tails sticking up out of the water everywhere, and I just didn't. They're kind of boring to catch to me, the black drum are on fly. So I caught a couple of reds, and I caught a couple of drum, and I came back in. But I saw a lot of reds. I probably saw 20-something redfish today for the short amount of time that I was out there. Okay, now we're going to put the claws onto the fly right here. And the reason I call it long arm of the craw, when I tie them on there, I leave one a little bit longer than the other. It's just being funny, really. But if you look at a blue, so we got blue crabs down here in Louisiana. If you look at blue crabs, most of them do have one claw that's bigger than the other. So when I tie them on the fly, I'm just going to leave one longer than the other. And like I said, I named this craw, this fly, long arm of the craw, just to be funny. Some of my flies, the names I come up with are just, I do it just to be funny, y'all. But all right, now we're going to tie these on here. Sorry. And we're going to cut the tag ends off these legs right here. Got the tag ends cut off. I'm going to go ahead and get some more wraps on it. Just like that. So we added a little bit of deer tail right here. And it's kind of sparse, and I want it to stick out like that. It's just really to add a little bit of body and a little bit of play, a little bit of action to the fly. We added some green, and you can use whatever color, but I added some eyes to it, and we added the crab legs to the fly. Now we're about to add some body to the fly, and then we're almost done. I said I used this fly today. It worked really well. And I think the next fly we're going to tie is going to be the other fly that I used today. It was working really good. Wow, I cannot read that language, but thank you for watching, wherever you're from. All right, so this right here is called EP brush. It's called EP brush. It's basically, if you look at it, there's a wire going down through the middle of it right here. And I'm adding, it's kind of thick. It's got, the colors are pretty cool. It's got like some olive, a little bit of blue, looks like a little bit of orange and stuff. But I add this to the fly to add some body to it. That way this fly will move some water so the fish not only see it, but they can feel it coming through the water. So you just need a couple of inches of it right here, y'all. We're going to cut that off, and this is why my scissors get dull, is from cutting through this wire and stuff all the time. I got 2 pairs of scissors, but all right. Now we're going to get the EP brush started on here. So I'm just going to hold it to the fly. I'm going to hold it to the fly, to the hook right here, and get some wraps on it. Why is that right there? Had a couple of deer hairs want to go rogue on me. We had rogue deer hairs, everybody. All right, so you want to put this EP on the hook. Get some wraps to hold it on there. Now I'm going to start wrapping it. And the way I do it, you want to fold, like I said, there's a wire running through this EP right here. I'm going to fold the material back towards the back of the fly. And I'm going to wrap it up, B. And as we wrap it, we're going to work from the back of the fly towards the front of the fly while keeping that material pushed back. And like I said, this is going to give the fly color and stuff, but main thing is it's going to give it some body, so it pushes water when it's going, it moves water when it's going through the water. That's almost all we need right there. You don't need much of this stuff. It's so thick, you don't need very much of it. All right, now we're gonna hold the tag in right here and get some wraps around it and then cut that tag end off. And then wrap it so it stays on the hook. Just like that, y'all. I was just wearing my hood, y'all, because I know I've been fishing all day, so I'm still wearing my fishing clothes from earlier. And now I've got a charter tomorrow. I didn't have a charter until when I came off the water today. I got a text message asking if I could do another charter tomorrow, but it's going to be a spinning rod charter tomorrow. It's not a fly fishing trip. I've got two boats. I got a fly fishing boat and a bay boat, so I do both. And tomorrow it's just going to be a spinning rod trip. All right, y'all. After I put the EP brush on there, I grab a toothbrush and I just kind of brush back on it just to kind of straighten it out like that. So that's what we got so far. We got a deer tail. We added some shrimp eyes. We added our claws, and we put some EP brush on there for the body. All right, we got blue crab down here in Louisiana. That's the kind of crab we have. So I'm gonna take a little bit of blue and wrap blue around the front, and then this fly is done, y'all. Very simple fly to tie. I came up with it about 2 weeks ago, and it works. So I just thought I would tie the flies that I used tonight. I'm trying to find the end of this stuff, y'all. There it is. All right. Again, on this stuff right here, you only need a couple of inches of it. This is what it looks like. It's kind of like crack wrap, except it's a little bit longer. I can't remember the exact what they call this. It's basically like crack wrap. It's just longer fibers. I just can't remember what it's called. I don't think I had the original package anymore. Same thing we did with this, y'all. We're gonna lay this, a tag end of it, on top of the hook right here, and get some wraps in there to hold it to the hook. And then we're just gonna wrap this around the fly while keeping the material kind of pushed back towards the back of the fly. And if the material sticks straight out, that's fine too. It really don't matter. When it's in the water, it's all going to flow backwards anyway. Like I said, y'all, as soon as I started fishing today, I pulled up in this shallow, I went back in these very shallow canals. I mean, less than a foot deep. I was basically dragging the boat on the bottom the entire time. As soon as I pulled back in there and started fishing, two redfish came swimming by the boat, and I cast the fly that I'm making right here, this style fly. I cast it right in front of them, and one of them smoked it. I didn't fish very long today. I caught two redfish, two black drum, and that was it. Then I came on back in. All right, y'all, we're going to take the tag in just like we did on the other one and just hold it out of the way. Get a couple of wraps on it. Sorry, my vise is... I keep moving my vise accidentally. And now we're going to get some wraps on this right here just to hold it all together, y'all. All right, let me cut a few of these tag ends right here, and then we'll wrap it around the eye of the hook, tie it off, and we'll be done. We'll move on to another fly. Next, we'll go with the other fly that I used mostly today. The water in some of the areas I was in today was kind of dirty, so I went with a purple and black fly a lot because that purple and black, the fish can see it really well underwater. All right, y'all. After we do a few wraps right here, right behind the eye, we're going to tie it off. Just drop my tie tool. This right here is a tool used for tying the knots. Basically, y'all, you just take this little hook and wrap it around your thread like that, and then take your thread and wrap it around this little part. Hold it up here, and do just like that. I usually do mine 4 or 5 wraps, and I do it 3 times. I'm just OCD about it. Just like that, y'all. Now we'll cut the tag end off the thread right here. We're gonna put some glue around the thread that we just tied off. And then we're going to straighten up some of this blue right here, and that'll be it, y'all. All right, so we're going to take this Solaris glue once again and just go around the thread that we just tied off with that glue. You just want to secure those knots so that your fly don't come apart. Grab a ultraviolet, a UV flashlight, hit that glue with it real quick. All right, y'all, I'm going to take and cut back a little bit of that blue. I don't want it to be quite that long, so I'm going to cut some of that back. The blue is on there just to add a little bit of blue color and a little bit of shine to the front of the fly. This fly is imitating a blue crab. We have a lot of blue crabs down here in Louisiana. That is pretty much it, y'all. You can brush it to make it look pretty, but honestly, as soon as it hits the water, all this is going to flow backwards in the water anyway. But you know, you can make it look pretty up until it hits the water. So here's the long arm of the craw, y'all, that we just tied. So a little bit of olive deer tail right here. We added some shrimp eyes right here, y'all. We made crab claws out of chenille. Got those on there. The reason I call it long arm of the craw, one is longer than the other. I just do that just to be funny. We put some olive colored EP brush right here, this green stuff right here. Then we added a little bit of blue shine around it. And there you go. You have basically a blue crab imitation fly. And the fish eat it up because it works great. It worked today. All right. Now, let me put a little bit of this stuff up so I don't have such a huge mess, y'all. And then we'll tie we'll go with a black and purple fly. Black and purple is one of the, for redfish down here in Louisiana, for flies, is one of the #1 colors you can use down here. So we'll tie a black and purple fly next. I'm just putting a little bit of this material up, y'all, so I don't have such a mess. And I had the comments going right here, y'all, so if y'all got any comments or anything or questions or fishing stories, leave them right there, y'all. And I will try to read as many of them as I can. All right, everybody, we're about to tie a black and purple fly. I'm just grabbing the material we need real quick. Let me see. I think that's about it. It's a very simple fly to tie, the one that we're about to tie. All right, I think I got everything. All right, y'all. We're about to tie a black and purple fly. It's I was using it today and was smoking them on it. That's what we're about to tie. I say smoking them. I didn't fish very long, but I caught 4 fish in the little bit of time that I fished today. Let's see. We're gonna do the same hook we just used. It's an Umpqua. It's a 3/0 hook. It's their competition series. It's got the I can't remember the bend on it, but this is what it looks like. That's the hook we're gonna use. I really like the bend on it. It's a 3/0 hook. That's what we're gonna use right now, y'all. All right, so we'll put this on the vise. We're gonna run a little bit of thread right here, right behind the eye. Like they call it a thread base. We're gonna put a little bit of a thread base on here to put the eyes on, y'all, or to put the lead eye on. The little bit of a weight on the fly. All right. I'm gonna use a purple lead eye because that's what I'm basically reproducing. You know, I make all my own flies, but I'm making the fly that I was using today. So I've only got 2 of these purple ones left. I have to buy some more. But we're gonna put a purple eye on there, y'all. Just gonna take it, put it right here over the hook. Get a couple of wraps in one direction. Couple of wraps in another direction right here, in the opposite direction to get it started. And then we're going to start wrapping it up. So what you want to do, you're going to go under your hook with the thread and over the eye in one direction, then under the hook and over the eye. You're doing cross wraps on top of these eyes right here, y'all. So we're just going under the hook, over the eye, under the hook, over the eye in the opposite direction. I don't have a set amount. I can use bigger eyeballs. Yeah, you can use. If you're talking about the lead eye, you can go. They don't go much heavier than this, but I already use a pretty heavy one. But because I want the fly to drop, I want to get down in front of that redfish's face as fast as possible. So when I put the fly in front of the fish, you know, most of the time redfish are looking down when they're feeding. They're swimming along, they're looking down most of the time. So when I drop that fly, I'm usually only dropping it a foot or 2 in front of the fish. In fact, both redfish that I caught today, I never had to bump the fly. The redfish dropped in front of them, and the redfish ate it. So it's not like you're fishing for bonefish or something where you want to lead them 5 or 6 feet, something crazy like that. I drop the fly about a foot or two in front of the fish, and I strip it right by their face. I tell clients all the time that have never come down here and fished for redfish, they'll want to throw it way out in front of the redfish, and they're pulling it way out in front of the redfish. You can hear me say, if you watch my YouTube videos, you'll hear me constantly tell them, pull it by their face, pull it by their face. I want them to pull the fly right by that redfish's face. All right, after we get a bunch of cross wraps on here, we're gonna go under the eye and over the hook, and we're basically cinching these cross wraps down is what we're doing. And now we'll just go ahead and run our thread base down the hook right here. But as far as the lead eyes right here go, if you're fishing somewhere super shallow, which I'm almost always fishing pretty shallow, but if you're fishing very shallow, like a foot or less, sometimes you might want that fly to drop slower. Or if you're fishing in a super muddy area, like a lot of mud on the bottom, you might not want that fly to drop and sink in the mud. So sometimes you'll use a lighter eye for that situation if you want the fly to drop slower, or if you don't want it to end up in the mud or something like that. But a lot of times I use these little bit heavier eyes like this one, because I want that fly to get down in front of that redfish's face and get hooked. All right, we're gonna throw some UV, some glue on top of these thread eyes right here. This glue dries with an ultraviolet light, but you don't want your eyes to start spinning when you start catching fish. You want these things to stay in one spot. And we're going to hit it with an ultraviolet light, y'all, to get these eyes cinched down, glued down to the fly. Not as many people watching tonight, y'all. I went live, I think yesterday. Yeah, I think I went live yesterday in the middle of the day time flies, y'all, around lunchtime. And I had like 10,000 views. It was pretty crazy. I don't know if everybody was just sitting at work bored and watching me tie flies or something, but it's pretty crazy to have 10,000 people watching me, tie flies yesterday afternoon. All right, the fly we're tying, y'all, this is a purple and black fly. It's the same fly that I was using today is what we're tying right now. So we're gonna get a purple deer tail right here. These are straight out of California, the purple deer tail. Straight out of California, baby. And you're just gonna take a chunk of purple deer tail. For some reason, you got this entire tail, and for some reason, I'm always like in search of the perfect chunk of deer tail. I don't know what it is. All right, so I'm gonna grab a chunk of deer tail right here. So I cut off a chunk of deer tail. I'm just gonna loosely pull off any loose hairs that might come off of it right there. This one don't have very many. Now we're gonna lay the deer tail on top of the hook right here, and I'm gonna get a couple loose wraps to get it started, because I want to keep it lined up on top of this hook. So I'm gonna get some loose wraps to get it started. And then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So now I'm going a little bit tighter on my wraps. There we go. All right. Now we're gonna add some shiny to the hiney right here, y'all. So gonna my southern accent. Yeah, I'm from Georgia. I live in Louisiana. I'm a fishing guide down here full time, but yeah, I'm not from here. I'm implanted down here, y'all. I'm here just for the fishing. All right, so we're gonna grab not very much. I'm gonna grab 2 strands of this gold right here. Is all I got. 2 strands of it. So I got 2 strands of gold. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna take right here on this thread. We're gonna take the gold strands and put them around that thread, and we're basically gonna half them like that. I'm holding the gold strands up. We're gonna get a couple of wraps just to hold them in place. And then what I'm gonna do is pull the strands. I got 2 strands on each side. I'm gonna pull those down and then wrap them so they stay in place to the side of the fly like that. Just like that. Just a couple of, so I've got, since we doled it over, we basically have 4 little gold strands going back. Now I'm gonna take the purple and do the same thing. The fly we're tying today, I was using today, y'all, and I caught redfish and black drum on it. The black drum are spawning down here right now. The black drum spawn in the spring, and the redfish spawn in the fall. So the black drum were everywhere today. I've caught so many of them over the years, y'all. They get boring to catch, but I caught 2 because I was on YouTube today, so I caught a couple for the camera. But honestly, I've caught so many they're kind of boring. All right, I got 3 or 4 strands of the purple right here. The reason I say black drum are boring to catch, when they get really big, when they start getting up in the 20-pound range or so and bigger, they just don't fight very hard. It's kind of like pulling in like a 68 Volkswagen or something. They don't fight very hard. Now the smaller black drum, the 20-something inchers, they'll fight pretty hard. But the big ones, they just kind of lay there. All right. We did the same thing. We doubled that purple over. And there we go, y'all. We added a little bit of purple and a little bit of gold shine to our fly right there. Now I'm going to flip this over like this, and we're going to add some eyeballs right here. I know I added eyeballs to my other fly, and I'm adding them to this one, but I don't add them to every fly, y'all. Some of my flies I do, and some of them I don't. I'm basically tying the fly that I used today, so I'm just showing y'all the fly that I tied today, y'all, or that I used today. We're tying the fly that I used today. So we got some easy shrimp eyes right here. This is what they look like. They're called easy shrimp eyes. We're gonna split the hook with them, or split the eyes with the hook. So we're gonna lay these on top of the hook right here, like that. A lot of times I'll do a couple loose wraps, y'all, till I get everything lined up the way I want it. And then I'll wrap it on up. All right. We got our shrimp eyes on there. Now I'm going to take a little bit of ultraviolet. It's Solares glue. It dries with an ultraviolet light. We're going to take and just put that on top of those threads right here where we just tied those eyes down. just to keep those eyes on there. You don't want them to start flipping all over the place when you start catching fish. All right, I'm going to grab my flashlight if I can find where it's at. Where did my flashlight go? Oh, here it is. All right, I'm gonna hit the glue with this ultraviolet light right here, and that's gonna dry that glue within just a few seconds. It makes the eyeballs in there shine also, y'all. All right. Now we're gonna add a couple of legs to it right here, and then the body of the fly, and that's it, y'all. If y'all are new to watching, please subscribe, y'all. Trying to grow the channel. It's crazy. I've got 500 something fishing videos on my channel, but lately when I started tying flies live, for some reason people watch these fly tying videos. It's I don't know. It's cool. So we're gonna grab some they call them crazy legs, but if you're a bass fisherman or whatever, it's basically spinnerbait skirt. So we're gonna grab some crazy legs. I'm gonna take 3 of them off right here. So I got 3 crazy legs, and I actually want the chartreuse part sticking out and the purple part in. So I'm gonna double this over. Just like that. I flip my fly back over. And I'm gonna tie the crazy legs on here. And then right here is the where we doubled them over. We're going to cut that off. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to leave just a little bit of chartreuse showing on each side. So I'm shortening them up. I'm just leaving a little chartreuse showing. Like that. And now we're just going to put some more wraps in to hold them down. And we're going to cut the tag end of it off right here. There. Let's see. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Thank you, Mr. Tony. Thank you. All my fishing videos I try to be family friendly. I'm a fishing guide down here in Louisiana, so I take people of all ages, and I've had people from all over the world. I've had people from I've had people from Poland, Czechoslovakia, all over South America, all over Europe. I've had people from all over the world that come down here and go fishing. Louisiana is the home of the redfish, you know. So people come from everywhere to catch these big giant redfish we have down here. All right, so now we're going to take purple feather right here. We only need one. Here's one right here. It's called saddle hackle. I don't know why they call it saddle hackle, but it's called saddle hackle. But it's basically colored feathers. We're going to cut this thick end off right here, y'all. In fact, a couple of weeks ago now, I had a father and son on a fly. They fished with me. They fished with me for 2 days, fly fishing. And I think the son was 8 years old, maybe, and he caught a 28-pound redfish. I mean, all by itself. You know, we we pulled up. We were fishing along the beaches out around the Gulf, and we pulled up. And as soon as I jumped up on the poling platform and started down the beach, we saw 3 or 4 tails sticking out of the water. You know, black drum and redfish. And he cast out there, and he was using a spinning rod. His dad was fly fishing, but his son was using a spinning rod. He cast out there, and we were throwing white crawfish, plastic crawfish, and he bounced that white crawfish across the bottom. That 28-pound redfish ate it, and that was the biggest fish he's ever caught in his life. All right, y'all. So now we're gonna lay the feather right here on top of the hook, and we're gonna get a few wraps in it to hold it in place. I've done charity stuff, the Cast for Kids. I've done that. I've done all kinds of stuff like that over the years, y'all. All right, so now that we got the feather started, we're going to start wrapping it. And what we're going to do, I got these tweezers right here. They're like super strong tweezers. And I'm just going to clip them into the top of the feather right here. I'm going to pull this thread up out of the way. And we're going to start wrapping this feather around the hook. And as we wrap it, whoops, it slipped out of my hand. As we wrap it, we're going to keep the feather material pushed back towards the back of the hook as much as possible. And we're going to wrap from, the tweezers came undone. That happens all the time. We're going to wrap from the back of the hook towards the front, keeping as much of the feather pushed back as possible. And this is going to add a little bit of body to the fly, and you know, just a little more action in the water, a little flow in action in the water. Since my tweezers popped off, I'm just using my fingers right here, y'all. All right, we're going to hold the tag in right here, do a couple of wraps on it, and then cut this tag end off. All right, and now, so that's what we have so far, but what you want to do, you need to do a few more wraps on this feather right here, so that way you know it's secure to the hook. It's not gonna, and the fly won't come apart in the water. Like that. So that's what we have so far, y'all. We are almost done with this fly. And these don't take as long. If I was just sitting here tying flies, it don't take as long. But when I'm on YouTube explaining, oh, well, thank you, Miss Just KC. I guess the name's Casey. Casey, thank you. All right, so now we're gonna grab some crack wrap, and that's really what it's called. It's called crack wrap. Because I know people are like, what? But it's called crack wrap. I didn't name it. That's what it's called. And we're gonna take just a few inches of crack wrap right here. What do I mainly fish for? So I'm a fishing guide down here in Louisiana, mostly for redfish. You know, I'm an inshore guide, so mostly inshore. So redfish, speckled trout, you know, everything that swims down here. Black drum, jack crevalle. I mean, we catch everything down here. Snapper comes in May. So May 1st, snapper season comes in this year. So we'll be fishing for snapper. I grew up bass fishing though, so I'm from Georgia. I have fished a ton of tournaments in my life, a lot of bass tournaments. I still have friends that fish both Major League Fishing and Bassmasters, but nowadays I'm just a fishing guide. I don't fish many tournaments anymore. If I do fish a tournament, I go back home to Georgia to fish it. All right, so we got some black crack wrap right here. We're gonna put the tag in of the crack wrap around the hook and get it started. Now we're going to take the crack wrap. Alabama, there you go. Actually, my favorite lake ever, the lake that I've won the most money on over the years. I used to fish tournaments like every weekend, y'all. I used to fish tournaments constantly. I would be online looking for a tournament to fish back when I was doing all that. But the lake that I've won the most money on over the years was this Lake Eufaula right there in Eufaula, Alabama. One of my tournaments, this was early spring. I think it might have been February or March. The bass were pre-spawn at the time. A lot of them were pre-spawn. And I was throwing white chatterbaits. And I went to the Witch's Ditch. It's a popular area on Lake Eufaula. It's kind of up the river just a little ways. Anyway, I need to tie flies as I'm talking, but I was a boater. I had a boat. I drew out a co-angler, a non-boater. So I had a co-angler that morning. All right, y'all, what you want to do? You want to start wrapping this, and as you wrap it, you want to keep the fiber part pushed back towards the back of the fly, just like that. And you're going to wrap from the back towards the front. Anyway, I drew out a co-angler that morning. So, and like I said, I was fishing that Witch's Ditch area. That's where they call it practice fish. That's where I'd found all my fish before the tournament. So I went up in there. My third cast with that white chatterbait, I caught one that weighed 8.01 pounds. And my dad was fishing that tournament too, and he was in the same area that I was in, but he wasn't in that same exact little canal kind of area. But he was right there close to me. And my co-angler, hey, Mr. Nacer. Oh, I got a big nose. I think it's like kind of average. It might be. I thought it was more average. I don't know. Anyway, my co-angler was going more crazy than I was. He started yelling when I caught that 8-pounder. And my dad was fishing in the same general area. And I ran into my dad later on during the tournament. And when I saw my dad, he's like, I knew you caught a big one. He said, I heard your co-angler yelling all the way where I was at, but all right, y'all. We're going to go ahead. We got enough material right there. We're going to hold this tag in, get a couple of wraps on it, and then cut the tag end off. Just like that. And now we're going to get some more wraps right here to hold it all together. And we are almost done with this fly, y'all. We're going to tie the thread off right here. Lake Gunnersville. Oh, yeah, Lake Gunnersville. One of my buddies that fishes Major League Fishing, I just talked to him. I talk to him almost every day. He still fishes Major League Fishing. He's supposed to fish Gunnersville this year, of course, on the tour and all. But all right, there's two ways of doing this. If you don't have a tie tool like this, you can use your fingers, y'all, and you'll take your fingers and wrap them around the thread like this right here, and basically do a little overhand knot. So I'm just going to take the thread, wrap it around the eye of the hook, and just do like a little overhand knot. So you can do it like that, but you have to do a lot of them if you don't have a tie tool. But if you have a little tie tool like this, you take this little spring right here, wrap it around the thread like that. Then take your thread and go around this little arm. Hold the thread back up here close to the eye and just wrap it. Just like that. And I do mine about 3 times, y'all. I'm OCD about it because if you watch my actual fishing videos on my channel, you'll see us catching a lot of gigantic redfish down here. So I'm just kind of OCD about the knots because we catch a lot of big ones down here, y'all. All right, then you kind of cut your little thread right there off, and then we're gonna put some glue around it. Let's see. Yes, this is a saltwater fly. I'm I'm a fishing guy in Louisiana for redfish, speckled trout, jackrabbit. Basically everything that swims down here. This is a saltwater fly, but you could use it for bass. That fly would definitely catch bass also. Um, that's true. That's true, Boone. That is true. In fact, I used to buy all my flies. I used to buy them. I haven't tied forever. I used to buy all my flies, and then I thought about tying. Everybody's like, man, if you ever start tying flies, it gets addicting. That's all So, and it does, y'all. I tie almost every day. So what we did just then, we added some glue around our knots, and now we're gonna grab our ultraviolet flashlight right here. If you watch closely, you might see some smoke shoot up, but basically this ultraviolet light dries that glue within a few seconds. All right. That's basically it, y'all. So we started off with a 3/0 hook right here. We added some purple deer tail right here, some purple deer tail. We added some shiny to the hiney. We threw a little bit of gold shine and a little bit of purple shine to the hiney right there. We threw some shrimp eyes on here. We added some little legs right here just for a little bit more action. We put a purple feather right here, y'all. And then we put some black crack wrap around it. And there you go, y'all. And if y'all are just joining, we tied this one. If you think that one's cool, we tied this one earlier, y'all. I call this one the long arm of the craw because one arm is longer than the other. I do, and it works. I use this. Well, I used to fly just like this one today, and it works great. So down here in Louisiana, they have blue crabs. That's the kind of crab they have. They're called blue crab, and this basically imitates a blue crab. And the redfish eat it like a Dairy Queen blizzard. So the technique. This is I make these for fly fishing. Looks like a Muppet baby. Yeah, that's true. So we use these for fly fishing, y'all. And these are flies used for fly fishing. But down here, the redfish are pretty aggressive. So I tell clients all the time, drop the fly a foot or two in front of the fish. You don't need it very far. And basically, you don't reel your fly rod. You pull the line. It's called stripping. Hey, FO, it's called stripping. So you strip your line, and basically you want to pull the fly right by the fish's nose, and they'll eat it up. All right, y'all, let's keep going. It's only 10:30. I have to fish tomorrow, but it's an afternoon charter tomorrow. I didn't know I was fishing tomorrow until I came off the water today and had a text message asking if I could do a trip tomorrow, but it's an afternoon trip, so I'm good. I'm gonna tell you, man, fly fishing, it's addicting. I do both. I didn't grow up fly fishing. I grew up fishing for bass, bait casters, spinning rods, all that stuff. And so I grew up bass fishing and stuff, and I actually didn't start fly fishing until I got down here to Louisiana. So when I started guiding down here, I wasn't a fly fishing guide. I actually started off doing regular conventional spinning rod and all that stuff. And then when I started taking people fly fishing, and I still didn't know how to fly fish, but I knew how to find the fish. I mean, I had a fly fishing skiff, so I could get shallow water, and I knew how to find the fish. So that's, and the way I learned to fly fish was I basically bought fly rods, and I started going, how much for a guide trip for fly fishing? If you go to my website, it's gripping. So it's the same thing as my YouTube channel. Grippinglipsfishing.com is my website. And I charge $750. I mean, I charge what everybody else charges down here. That's just what everybody charges down here. Most of us guides, we don't really try to undercut each other because if you try to undercut, you're going to make a bad name for yourself. So all the guides charge the same. All right, y'all. Let's do a shrimp pattern. Let's do a shrimp pattern. Something a little bit different. So same thing. Start off with a little 3/0 hook right here. Throw it on here. Let's do a shrimp pattern. Oh yeah, GTs. That's good, man. Yeah, a lot of the tuna. Oh no, ma'am. It's not just for trout. It's not just for trout. If you ever catch a 20+ pound redfish on a fly rod, that's all you'll ever want to do. Yeah, yeah. Depending on what area you're in is the fly. Fishing charter is going to be different depending on where you go. Generally down like in the Florida Keys and stuff, it seems like you get a lot of people with a lot of money down there, so the trips might cost more. Even here in Louisiana, there's some places that don't cost as much, but the fishing isn't as good. The area that I charter in, we have a lot of fish and a lot of big fish, and that's just the going rate where I fish at. All right, y'all, let's do a shrimp imitation fly. It'll be a little bit easier for y'all to see, a little bit lighter colors. There you go, man. Drop shot. So I'll tie as I talk. So I grew up bass fishing. So I'm from Georgia also. I grew up bass fishing, and so yeah, I've done plenty of drops. So 2 summers ago, I took my dad up to and my dad he's a great bass fisher. My dad is actually in the American Bass Anglers Hall of Fame. He got in the Hall of Fame in 2017. But so my dad's in like I said, he's in the American Bass Anglers Hall of Fame. But anyway, I took my dad up to I'm grabbing another deer tail, y'all. I took my dad to St. Lawrence River in New York 2 summers ago, and I'm gonna tell you, if you want to do some drop shotting, go up to the St. Lawrence, man, and smoke them giant smallmouth on a drop shot. It's a blast. I'm trying to read everybody's comments. Oh yeah. All right, y'all. We're gonna tie like a shrimp imitation fly right now. So I got 3/0 Umpqua hook right here, and all we've done so far, we added we've added a little bit of a a little bit of a thread base right here behind the eye, and now I think just for the heck of it. Just for the heck of it, let's go with a red eye on here. How much was my fly tie vise? So I got the box somewhere. The box is right here. It's actually made, this might be backwards on camera, but it's made by Kingfisher. So Kingfisher, and I'm not sponsored by them, I'm just telling you. Kingfisher is a fly fishing shop. So this is the Umpqua. This is probably going to be backwards on camera, y'all. It's a Umpqua. It's a 3/0 hook. Of course, it's saltwater. I think it's their competition series or something like that. But the vise actually wasn't that much. You can spend hundreds of dollars for vices, but the vise I had was just over $100. It does everything the super expensive vices does whatever, but doesn't cost as much. All right, y'all. Just for the heck of it, let's put a red eye on this shrimp right here. I think I'm kind of going back and forth if I want to use a red eye. I don't know. Let's see. I tell you what. Let's use pink. That's awesome, Mr. Hunter. Oh, I said, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, back home in Georgia, we got a few boats back home. An older Blazer, a I can't remember the exact year model, but a 2000 something Phoenix. But anyway, a couple of boats back home. We took the Skeeter. We took the Skeeter to St. Lawrence a couple years ago, though. All right, y'all. Using pink eyes right here. Gonna set these on top of the hook. Do a couple of wraps in one direction. Just kind of hold them. A couple of wraps in the other direction. And once you kind of get them where you want them, you're gonna start making little X wraps on here. So, what kind of line? So you use fly line. I use Cortland. So, Miss Just Casey. So, I'm gonna add them to my website, and I do sell flies right now, but I sell them down here. There's a plantation. Well, it's called Woodland Plantation. It's basically a place where people stay when they fish. I sell my flies there, and I'm going to add them to my website. So I use Cortland fishing line, y'all. I mean fly line. I'm sponsored by them, but I use them anyway. But I use Cortland fly line, and I always go 2 sizes up. So if I'm throwing an 8-weight rod, I'm throwing like a 10-weight line. Now I do throw my 10-weight rod a lot, which has a 10-weight line. But as far as leader, I use, believe it or not, I just use Daiwa. What's it called? It's Daiwa leader. It comes in 50-yard spools, but it's fluorocarbon. I use fluorocarbon leader, and I usually use either 30 or 40-pound leader. But we catch a lot of big fish. All right, y'all. So what you're gonna do in these wraps? You're gonna go under the hook and over the eye, and you're gonna make a cross pattern. So I'm going under the hook, over the eye, and I'm alternating. I'm alternating is what I'm doing. But yeah, I do need to sell them. I don't think so. Oh, so we're doing redfish flies right here, but yes, you can people fly fish for bass all the time. And most of these flies I'm tying are going to work on a bass because you know how bass are. They're like redfish. They're pretty aggressive. They're going to eat pretty much anything. All right, y'all. After we do several wraps around the eyes right there, several cross wraps. Now we're going to wrap between the eye and the hook, like this right here, just to kind of cinch those cross wraps down. If y'all are new to the channel, y'all, please subscribe. I do a lot of fly time videos, but I also have probably 500 something videos on my channel, actual fishing videos, y'all. And you can see all this right here in action. So after we tie the eyes on, I'm going to run a thread base down the hook. You just want to base a thread on your hook so all your materials don't slide all over your hook when you start tying everything to it. Okay. That's right, man. I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't fished a tournament since forward-facing sonar. I'm not a fan of it. And I don't care nothing about watching on TV. I got friends that fish MLF and Bassmasters, but I tell them all the time I don't care nothing about looking at back of dudes' heads all day. All right, y'all. So now we're gonna take some glue and put it over the thread where we just put these eyes on there, because you don't want these eyes to start spinning when you start catching fish. How many flies do I make per day, man? lately I've been doing a lot of live streaming, so I've only been doing about 3 or 4 flies every time I do that. But I've got hundreds of flies because I tie all the time. All right, y'all. Now we're gonna take a ultraviolet light. We're gonna hit this glue right here, and it dries that glue within a few seconds. It says 10 to 12 seconds. It's dry. All right. Who do I know on tour? Well, my buddy Chris No, I talk to him almost every day. He's in California right now at his parents' house, but he fishes MLF. I know Ike, but I barely ever talk to him. I mean, we message each other. He was supposed to come down here and go fishing. Actually, he came down here 2 summers ago, but he had already booked somebody, and he had too many guys with him. I couldn't take them all, but anyway, y'all. All right, y'all. So we're gonna add some white tail right here. So we're just gonna take a chunk of this deer tail. My buddy Chris, he used to, when FLW still existed, he fished FLW. Now he's just doing the Toyota series, and he says he's getting tired of, but he's been tournament fishing forever. He says he's getting kind of burnt out on it. All right, so we're just gonna take any loose strands right here. We're just gonna pull those off. You don't want to pull too hard because you don't want to pull your whole deer tail apart. And then we're going to lay it on top of the hook and start wrapping it. What's his name? I have fished a few tournaments against some pros, some charity tournaments and stuff. Like for kids with cancer and stuff like that. I'm trying to remember. Golly, I don't think of the guy's name. There's a guy that he fishes Bassmasters. I think wasn't he Angler of the Year last year or something. I'm trying to think of his name. Golly, I run into him because he still fishes local tournaments and stuff in Georgia. Golly, I don't know why my mind's going blank on his name right now. All right, y'all. After we put the tail right here, so I've been selling mine. I was actually going to sell them a little bit cheaper than what people had been selling them for, but down there at the plantation, I run a lot of trips for them. They've been selling my flies. No. Kyle, Kyle something, y'all? What's his name? Come on, y'all know. Oh, Kyle, y'all know who it is. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I'm sorry. Kyle Welcher. Wow, dude, you know a lot. That's awesome, man. Kyle Welcher. I've ran into him at some local tournaments in Georgia. All right, y'all. So now that we got the white right here, we're gonna grab a black magic marker, and we're gonna put some stripes on the shrimp tail. I love fishing tournaments. It was a lot of fun, but nowadays I'm always down here guiding y'all, so that's what I do all the time. All right, let's throw some shrimp eyes on here. We're gonna flip it over. I just said on the last video that I don't put eyes on all my shrimp, and I don't, but it probably seems like I do. Yeah, that's it. Yep, that's awesome. You know all that. Yeah, Kyle Welcher. There was the last tournament I ran into them at in Georgia. Every year in Georgia they have a big bass tournament. On one, it's not West Point. It's one of the lakes close to West Point. I don't know if I can even think of what it's called right now. That's a smaller lake, but they'll have a big bass tournament on there. So you only weigh in one fish, and that's the last tournament. That's that's the last tournament I saw him at. All right, y'all. So we got some. We're gonna take some red shrimp eyes. Good grief! All right, y'all. We're gonna take these shrimp eyes. That's what they look like right here. We're gonna split the eyes with the hook. We're gonna lay the eyes right here on top of the hook like that, y'all. And then cinch them down. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I haven't fished a bass tournament or even watched any really since I'm not a fan of the live. I know a lot of people love it. I'm just not a fan of the live scope. But that's a whole nother debate right there, I guess. But all right, so we're gonna put some glue over the thread right there where we put the eyes on there. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I didn't grow up using it, and I guess I still do it the old school way. All right, y'all, and then we're just gonna take and grab the light and put over the glue right there. Now it's fun. It's my biggest bass. I've caught a couple that were in the 8-pound range. One of them was, I was telling a story earlier. One of those was on a tournament on Lake Eufaula. My third cast of the tournament. It was early spring, white chatterbait. I caught one that was 8.03. But I haven't had any like big 12-pounders or anything like that. All right, after we put the eyes on there, we're going to flip it back over. And we're going to add a little bit of shine right here to it. Hey, Dixie. Yep, Lake Weiss. I wanted to go home to Georgia this week. That's not happening. So it'll probably be the first or second week of April. My buddy lives up there on Lake Wedowee, and they have been smoking the crappie on Lake Wedowee, and I want to go up there and get some. So we're gonna take some chartreuse right here, y'all. I'm gonna grab 3 little strands of it and cut them off. So I have 3 strands of chartreuse right here. We're gonna take those and basically go around our thread like this right here. I'm gonna hold them up out of the way just like that. We're gonna get a couple of wraps just to hold them in place like that. And now I'm gonna pull these chartreuse strands down to the side of the fly, kind of hold them out of the way, and then get some wraps on there to hold them down to the side like that. Just like that. It's not very much color, but you don't need a lot. When it's in the water, it's actually going to add, even though there's only a few strands on each side, it's going to add some color to that fly. We're just making flies, y'all. We're tying some flies. Yep. But yes, Eufaula is my favorite lake just because I've won the most money on that lake, and then I love Seminole. My dad used to guide down in Lake Seminole back in the 80s when I was young, so that was a lot of fun. All right, y'all, we got the tail, we got some shrimp eyes on here, we add a little bit of chartreuse color. Now we're going to add some body to the fly. Since this is a shrimp imitation, we're gonna go with more of a natural looking feather right here. Natural colored feather, I mean. Natural looking. I guess they're all natural looking since it's a feather. Let me pick out a good feather. Alrighty. I always wanted to go fly fishing. I'm gonna tell you, it's addictive. Down here in Louisiana, we catch a lot of giant redfish on fly, and if you ever catch a 20-pound redfish on fly, that's all you're gonna want to do. If you go to my website, gripandlipsfishing.com, y'all, y'all can see how to book me on my website. But I'm a guide down here in Louisiana, or go to my YouTube channel. Well, I guess you're on it now, but check out some fishing videos on my YouTube channel, y'all. You'll see a bunch of big fish on there. All right, so we're gonna grab this feather right here. It's kind of a shrimpy looking color. We're gonna lay the feather on top of the hook. We're gonna get some wraps in on the feather to hold it in place. And then we're going to wrap the feather around the hook. I'm going to grab my tweezers, see if they work on here. Try to do it with the tweezers. It's a lot easier as long as they stay clipped on there. Sometimes your feather will break apart. So we're going to wrap from the back of the fly going towards the eyes right here, and you just want to keep your feather kind of pushed back towards the back. All right, we're going to cut off this tag end right here. And then wrap it up. Wrap it up, B. Y'all remember Chappelle's show? Seth Fighter. That name, I know who you're talking about. He's from up north. I don't know him, but I know who you're talking about. And he's from up north somewhere, right? Wisconsin or Minnesota or something like that. Got real long, grows his hair out long. I think that's who you're talking about. All right, y'all. So far we got some deer tail right here. We added some black stripes to it. We added some shrimp eyes on the bottom. We added a little bit of color to the tail, and we just took a feather. That is true. That is true, Boone. What's my best trout? So I'm a fishing guy for like redfish for saltwater, y'all. So I've actually never fly fished for trout. I got buddies that guide for them. In fact, I got one buddy. He's from Wyoming. He was down here. He came down during the busy season for redfish to guide down here for redfish. Now he just went back home to Wyoming to guide for trout up there all summer long. He's like, man, you need to come up here and go. But it depends. I stay pretty busy down here fishing, y'all. So we're gonna grab some crack wrap. That's really what it's called. It's called crack wrap. I was just showing y'all in case some people might not believe that it's called crack wrap. We're gonna grab some crack wrap. This is kind of a shrimpy color, and we're gonna wrap it right here around the front of the fly. And then we will be just about done with this fly, y'all. So I just cut off 3 or 4 inches right there of the crack wrap. We're going to take one end of it, a little tag end right here. We're going to wrap that around the hook to get it started. And now we're going to wrap this crack wrap. Same thing we were doing earlier. We're going from the back, working our way towards the front. So we're working from back towards the front of the fly right here, and you just want to keep this material kind of pushed back towards the back of the fly as you wrap it. Do I bass fish? Me, I do bass fish. I grew up in Georgia bass fishing. But I'm a fishing guy down here in Louisiana for saltwater though. And the reason why is it's fun, but down here in Louisiana, you can actually make money being a fishing guy because people come from all over the place down here to catch these redfish, y'all. So. All right, we got that wrap. I'm just going to hold the tag end out of the way. Get a couple of wraps on there like that. And wrap it up. That's right. That's right, Boom. I got a fishing charter tomorrow. The people are from New York that I'm taking out tomorrow. And it's an afternoon trip, actually. They just booked me today. It's an afternoon trip, so we're not even going fishing until 1 o'clock. But we're not, tomorrow's going to be conventional, you know, throwing spinning rods and stuff. It's not a fly fishing trip tomorrow. All right, y'all, let's tie this one off and we'll be done with this one. We're tying flies. Seen by Anderson, and tying flies and telling fishing stories. Thanks for joining in. Tying flies and telling fishing stories. What's my craziest story? I don't know. Crazy stuff happens all the time down here. Since it's an offshore, I mean not offshore. Since it's salt water, I mean we're always having like people catch sharks by accident, or sharks grabbing your fish, or alligator. I've had 4 alligators in the boat over the years. If you look at my YouTube channel, you're gonna see a couple of videos on there. If you search for them on there, you're gonna find a couple of videos of alligators in the boat. So I've had alligators in the boat, people catching alligators. I've had all kinds of crazy stuff happen down here. If you look at my shorts, my YouTube shorts, you're gonna see a couple of shark videos on there. I think I got an alligator video. In fact, I got a couple of alligator videos on my shorts too, that y'all can find. All right, y'all. So I said we're gonna do a little shrimp imitation. So there you go, y'all. That's pretty shrimp color right there. Um, that's right. If you Shamanda was actually with me. We saved a pelican one time. Oh yeah, hardheads. Yep. So saved a pelican one time. Y'all know what jug line fishing is? I don't really like it, but people do it. You take a jug, like a 2 liter bottle or a milk jug or whatever. You tie like a rope or line to it. You put a hook on there. You put a chunk of bait, and you just throw the jug out. My cats are acting crazy. Sorry. You just throw the jug out, put a bunch of them out, and then whatever grabs it, then you gotta go find your jug. Well, a few years ago, it was during the springtime. We were out fishing for speckled trout, just conventional, throwing popping corks with plastics, just fishing for speckled trout. And there was a pelican swimming, and it had a jug line hooked into his side. And so I tried to rescue the pelican. Every time I would get close to it, he would jump up and fly, pulling that, the jug would be slapping the water because as the pelican was flying, trying to get away. So I chased that pelican all around the bay, and finally he landed within casting distance. And what I did, I grabbed a fishing rod and I put a jig head on it. So in other words, a weighted hook, just a jig head. And I had, I was using braid. I used braided line down here. And so what I did, I threw the jig head between the jug and the pelican. I threw it over the rope, and I grabbed the rope with the jig head, and I reeled the pelican all the way to the boat. Of course, he was trying to flap and get away. I reeled him to the boat. I took a towel and threw a towel over his head to calm him down, and grabbed a hold of his beak and took the hook out. And it was a giant hook. Took the hook out, and he swam away. He was fine. But I've had some crazy stuff happen on the boats, y'all, on fishing trips down here. I have never been bit. No, I've had 4 alligators in the boat over the years, and I've had a bunch of sharks in the boat, and so far I've never been bit. So, Goof, I'm a fishing guide down here in Louisiana for saltwater. I'm in the New Orleans area. That's the reason we stay so busy down here. So we're in the New Orleans area. So you got all the tourists coming in to see New Orleans, and you got a lot of people that come here just to fish. We get people down here that fish down here all the time, and that's all they do. They don't ever go out in town and see the town. They just come here just to fish. New Orleans is a busy fishing spot, y'all. Do I like crawfish? It's actually crawfish season right now. I do like crawfish. It's just so much work, to me it is. For that little, break it off, that little piece of meat, I don't know. I love crawfish pastas and stuff like that. But to me, it's kind of a pain, whatever. So I tell you what, y'all, let's do one more fly. You never tried crawfish? They're outstanding. Yeah, they're really good. Pellet got tangled line for, held him down. Beak, yeah. Yep. So over the years we've caught, not trying to, but we've caught a lot of pelicans over the years and a few seagulls. The pelicans is usually, we're catching so many fish, the pelicans will come and try to take the fish off the hook as we're pulling them in. So the way I normally do it, I'll throw a towel over their head to calm them down, and I grab a hold of their beak and unhook them. like that. Seagulls. Seagulls is usually people making casts and they'll hit the seagull. So that's happened a few times also. All right, y'all. The last fly that I'm going to tie tonight because it's like 10 after 11, which whatever, but we're going to tie the most popular fly that we use down here, the one we catch the most fish on. So we're going to start off with an olive colored deer tail, olive colored. And just like we did on all the other ones, we're just going to grab a chunk of the deer tail. Let me find a good chunk. We're going to grab a chunk of deer tail, cut that off. Oh, yeah, I'm getting way ahead of myself. We kind of need a hook on here, don't we? I'm sitting here talking and telling fishing stories and not thinking about what I'm doing. All right, so we're going to grab our 3/0 Uncle hook, put it on the vise. I was getting way ahead of myself, y'all. We're going to tie what they call a Hopedale crab. Hopedale, Hopedale crab. And you can do a Hopedale crab in any color, a bunch of different colors. Yes, so I got some right here. We tied this fly earlier tonight. You might have missed it. See the legs on there? We tied that fly a little while ago. It's basically just like the fly that I was throwing today and catching fish on today. So we tied that tonight already. We started off with this one tonight. We started off with that tonight. We tied that. Call it the long arm of the craw. See how one arm's longer than the other? Long arm of the craw. But it's basically a blue crab imitation. All right, y'all. So the fly that we're tying right now, this is my most fish catchingest fly that I use down here for redfish. It's called a Hopedale crab. You can tie them in a bunch of different colors, but this olive color that we're about to tie is the #1 color down here that we catch these fish on. All right, y'all. So I'm just going to use chartreuse eyes on here to add a little color. Put a couple of wraps to get them started. I'm just getting them lined up. My cats are wanting in here trying to be UFC in the middle of the night. I don't know what it is at nighttime. These cats want to start getting crazy. They're in here bowing each other off the top shelf and everything. All right. We're going to do some X wraps. So what we're going to do, we're going under the hook and over the eyes. We're making X patterns, like cross patterns, X patterns, and we're alternating. And I know if y'all been watching me tie a few flies, I'm saying the same thing, but we might have some new viewers that haven't seen this. So we're alternating. We're going under the hook, over the eye, under the hook, over the eye in the opposite direction. So we're doing some cross wraps on here. After we do that, we're going to go between the eye and over the hook. So under the eye, right here, and over the hook a few times, and that's going to cinch those cross wraps. That's going to cinch those cross wraps down. All right, after we do that, we're just going to add some thread down the shank of the hook real quick. You just want to have some thread on here so that all your material that you tie to it don't slip all over the place. Bass community and rediscovering silicone legs and lures. That's right. Everybody's using lures made for front facing sonar nowadays, you know. It's kind of killing the market, the regular fishing market, because everything's made for front facing sonar. All right, y'all. So I've got some olive colored deer tail right here. I'm gonna lay that. I'm gonna lay that on top of the fly. And get some wraps on it. Maybe tomorrow night we'll tie some different flies. I'll do some like bait fish patterns and stuff for y'all. The bait fish patterns just they're a little more time consuming to tie. Each one of those flies just takes a while because you tie them in layers and it's hard to explain. But I'll tie some of those tomorrow, and y'all see what I'm talking about. If y'all want to tune back in tomorrow, we'll tie some bait fish. So in other words, like some shad, you know, it looks kind of like shad or mullet or whatever. We'll tie some of those tomorrow, but they're just time consuming to tie. They just take a little while to tie. All right, y'all. So we have some tail right there for our Hopedale crab. We're gonna take a black Sharpie. And we're going to add some black stripes to it, just like we did on that last fly we just tied. So when this is in the water, everybody, this flows backwards like that. It basically flows backwards into a point when it's in the water. Alrighty. Now we're going to add some shine to it, just a little bit of shine. So I'm going to grab some gold right here. And we're going to add some shiny to the hiney. So I'm going to grab a few strands of gold. Cut that off. So I got a few strands right here of gold, y'all. And what we're going to do, we're going to wrap this around the thread, like this right here. Just kind of pull it up. Hold it up here out of the way above the fly. And get a few wraps to hold it in place. Now we're going to pull this gold down to the side right here. And get a few more wraps, y'all. So we just added a little bit of gold shine to our tail right there. Now I'm going to grab a couple of strands of purple and do the same thing. The cool thing about tying flies, y'all, and I know a lot of the trout guys and stuff, you know, they're like trying to match the hatch or whatever. They're trying to tie their flies exactly to match, you know, whatever might be hatching or whatever might be, like a mayfly or whatever. You know, but the cool thing about these redfish down here, they're super aggressive. That's right, man. You remember all the Bill Dance commercials and stuff like that when they would advertise all these crazy lures like the freaking helicopter lure and the dancing eel. Dancing eel. Y'all remember the dancing eel? All right, so we're going to do the same thing we did with the gold with this purple, y'all. I'm going to pull it right here and just get it, whoops, and get a few wraps on it right here, y'all. Yeah, the dancing eel, the freaking helicopter lure. They had all kinds of stuff back in the day. All right, y'all. Let's add some body to the fly right here. So I'm going to grab, that's hilarious. I'm going to grab some EP brush right here, y'all. Y'all, whenever I tie fly, you ought to see the mess. I know all y'all can see is this right here. You ought to see all the freaking fly tie materials laying all over the place right here. The mess of stuff I've got all around me that I have to clean up every night. How's it all stay together? So this thread? So basically, this thread, I never most of the time when I tie flies, I never cut this thread to the end. So you'll take this thread right here, that's on a bobbin, and wrap. So everything is basically wrapped around the hook the entire time. And really, at the very end, you're just going to tie, if you stick with me, we're going to tie some knots on this and cut it off, and that's it. I mean, it all stays together by being wrapped around like that. All right, so we're going to I just grabbed some EP brush. This stuff right here has a wire. You can probably see it with the light. There's a wire going down through the middle of it, like a little stainless steel or whatever it is, a little wire going down through the middle of it. We're going to cut off just a couple of inches of this. This stuff is really thick. So a couple of inches of EP brush. And like I said, there's a wire going down through the middle of it right here. We're going to get this stuff started on the hook. That was actually a good question, Luke. So it just holds, okay. Well, thank you, Luke. Fly fishing is a blast. If you like to fish, get a fly rod. Watch a few videos on YouTube to get your. You can learn how to cast basically, or you can get the basics by watching some videos. Practice casting, and man, it's addicting. So no, freshwater lures, now, they mass produce a lot of them nowadays, but no, freshwater lures are made out of everything from plastic to balsa wood. So no, it's different making freshwater lures. I've got friends that make them, but uh, but no, it's different from tying flies. Tying flies, you have a vise right here. It's called a vise. It clamps your hook down. So this is like your little work area. So you start off with just a hook. Then we added little lead eyes right here for the weight. We added a tail material, a little bit of shine on the tail. Basically, you can kind of oh, this is not a Stanley Cup, by the way, y'all. I'm not spending a fortune on a freaking Stanley Cup. But anyway, but the cool thing about fly tying is you can kind of do whatever you want to do. And that's why I started to say earlier, a lot of guys that do trout and stuff, they want to match the hatch exactly. They try to tie something that looks exactly like whatever happens to be buzzing around in the air that day. But a lot of the saltwater stuff, it don't have to look, a lot of times it don't have to look like anything. Sometimes these fish are so aggressive. If it goes in front of their face, they're usually gonna. Can you just put a prop and super glue and hold the end of it all? Yeah, so we're gonna use some glue, but these are we're tying flies right here, so I'm not gonna put any props on them like you do for bass. These are for redfish. I'm a saltwater fishing guide down here. All right, y'all. So we're gonna take this EP brush. I got it doubled over. We're gonna tie on right here just to get the tag in started so it don't come off the fly. I'm gonna pull the thread up out of the way and we're gonna start wrapping this right here. And what you want to do when you wrap this EP brush, like I said, there's a wire that runs down through the middle of it. We're gonna keep that doubled over. We're gonna double this material over that wire, and we're gonna start right here at the back and work our way towards the front, y'all. I hope everybody that's subscribing, that's watching, y'all. It's free to subscribe, but it helps me out a lot. It helps grow the channel. And when you subscribe, it helps push my channel. It helps push my channel out to more viewers so more people can watch. Just grow the community. You know, the whole YouTube algorithm thing. All right, y'all. So as we wrap this, we're going to keep that material pushed back towards the back of the fly. Maybe one more wrap right here, or half a wrap. That's going to be good enough. I'm going to hold the tag in right here up out of the way, y'all. Sorry about the camera. And we're going to cut that off. Now I'm going to pull this stuff back and get some wraps on it just to hold everything in place. All right. Now we're going to take a toothbrush and just kind of brush this EP brush back to get it just out of the way and kind of nice and neat looking. But of course, as soon as this stuff goes in the water and gets wet, it all flows backwards anyway whenever you're pulling it through the water. All right, y'all. Now we're going to add a little bit of crack wrap. Like we've done on all the other flies tonight, we're going to add some crack wrap to the front of the fly right here, tie it off, and we'll be done with this fly. All right, we're going to go with this color crack wrap right here. This is the color I use on these. Actually, that's the wrong. It's the right color, but it's the wrong wrap. Let me grab my other wrap. I got so much fly time materials, y'all. Here it is. I got it right here. That's hilarious. All right. Yeah, this is it's a Hopedale crab. Hopedale, Hopedale crab. So we're gonna grab some crack wrap right here, y'all. This is like a little olive color. It's got a little bit of gold and stuff in it. We're gonna cut off a few inches of it. All right. And now we're gonna take the little tag, just take an end of it right here, set it on the hook, just like you do everything else, just like we've been doing everything else, and get some wraps on it to get it started, to hold it in place. All right. Now we're going to take the crack wrap and just wrap it around the front right here, going from back, going towards the back, towards the front of the hook or front of the fly. So going from front to back, and you want to keep this stuff right here just kind of pushed back as you wrap it. In fact, I'm going to grab my little tweezers right here. Put my tweezers on the end of it right there just to help a brother out. This fly is having a bad hair day. All right, that's probably good enough. We're going to take this tag in right here. I might can get, nah, we'll call it right there. We're going to take the tag in, get a couple of wraps on it. I hope everybody that's watching has subscribed, y'all. If y'all subscribe, if you hit that little notification bell icon, I tie flies almost every night. But if you check out my channel, I've got 500 something fishing videos on there, everybody, where you can see us fly fishing and spinning rod fishing or whatever. And you'll see all this stuff in use. But my fishing videos, I think, are pretty, most of them are pretty good. So we're going to wrap that up to hold that in place. Just like that. But if you subscribe, you hit the little notification bell whenever I go live, because I go live sometimes while we're fishing. So we'll be out there in the middle of the marsh, in the middle of nowhere. Fly time Muppet babies. That's right. That's hilarious. All right. It's funny she said that. I actually have a fly that I call Fraggle Rock. Do y'all remember Fraggle Rock? It was a TV show back in the day with Muppets. There's actually a fly that I designed. I call it the Fraggle Rock. If you watch, it's one of my latest videos, regular fishing videos on my channel. I tie the Fraggle Rock, and then we took it out and used it. And the first fish I caught on after time was 40 inches long. It was a 40-inch redfish. But yeah, that's funny she said Muppet babies, because I actually have a fly that I call the Fraggle Rock. That's pretty funny. Maybe we'll tie the Fraggle Rock tomorrow. All right, so now we're just tying it off. Because someone was asking about how it all stays together. So we just tied a bunch of little overhand knots on there. We're gonna cut the thread right here. What is the thing for extra tension? This it's basically a bobbin. So you put your thread here and you run your thread up through this. Oh, this. Yeah, so this right here is just which I've already cut it off now. It has a spring right here. You put this over your thread and the other part right here, and when you wrap it, it just kind of goes together like that, and it'll eventually slide off of here, and it's hard to explain without it being hooked up on there, but yeah, it's just a fly tie or a tie tool. Yeah, tomorrow we'll tie the Fraggle Rock. I wish I had some with me. My fly boxes with all my flies in them are actually down at the marina where I keep the boats right now. All my flies are down there in my boxes. All right, y'all. So after you tie it off, you want to take some glue. This is Solarez glue. it dries with ultraviolet light. We're just going to take this glue and put over the thread right here where we just tied it off. And like I said, this glue dries with the ultraviolet light, which is basically what you get from the sunshine. But I have a flashlight right here. Do I sell them? That's what everybody in this shoots ultraviolet light. See? So we're gonna take. That's what everybody asks me. I'm gonna start selling my flies. I've got some for sale now. I just haven't put them on my website yet. I need to put them on my website. I need to do that. Everybody asks me that almost every night. So we're just drying the glue right here with the ultraviolet light. That should be good. So there we go, y'all. That is down here my number one most fish catching this fly that we use down here. It's called the Hopedale crab. Very simple. Very simple fly, but it works. All right, y'all. So tonight we started off with this one. That's the one she was calling the Muppet Baby. I call it the long arm of the craw. It's basically a blue crab imitation. And the reason I call it long arm of the craw, I make one crab leg longer than the other. So that's my long arm of the craw. We started off with that. Then we went with black and purple, some black and purple fly right here. That's one of the number one colors down here in Louisiana. There's some shrimp eyes. We added some crazy legs onto it right here. A purple feather and some black crack wrap. So that's the second fly we tied tonight. Then we went with like more of a shrimp imitation, more of a shrimpy color right here. So we did that. And then we finished off with the Hopedale crab, everybody. So I tie onto the leader with a loop knot. I think it's called if you look up online, it might be called a Rapala, like the fishing lure. It might be called a Rapala loop knot. So on my leader going to my fly line, I just tie an overhand knot on my leader because my fly line is looped. It has a welded loop. Yeah, a loop knot, yeah. So, and that way, when you tie that loop knot onto the fly, it gives it more action. Like if you were to tie like a Palomar or something to it, it's going to hold it more solid. But if you tie that loop knot to it, it just gives the fly more action. And we catch gigantic fish on that loop knot all the time. So that's what we tie, y'all. So I run on most of my rods. I have a 10 weight fishing line or 10 weight fly line, and then I run usually a 30 or 40 pound fluorocarbon leader, and usually about. You don't need a super long leader down here. I use like 4 to 5, maybe 6 foot a leader, because these redfish are pretty aggressive, and then run it down to a loop knot, tie on to your fly, y'all. If you check out my YouTube channel and watch some of the fly fishing videos, you'll see. That's what we do, y'all. Let's see. Yeah, you can use it with soft plastic. You can use it with top water lures. This is another good thing for a loop knot. Like on your jerk baits and stuff. All right, thank you, Luke. Thank you. All right, y'all. I think that's it for tonight. It's 20 till midnight, so I gotta get a little bit of sleep, and I'll be back out tomorrow. Use a crankbait snap for most of my. Yeah. My buddy does that. He puts a crankbait snap on there a lot. Showing up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, go to sleep. All right, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow. Check out some of my fishing videos. Uh, if you watch real closely, you might see and I'm not gonna say who. Y'all just have to look through it and find out. But if you look closely on some of my videos, you might see a celebrity or two on there. But all right, y'all. I gotta go and get some sleep. But I will be back tomorrow. Thank y'all for watching.